Aging may be inevitable, but face planting during a morning walk doesn't have to be. As we get older, the graceful dance of walking, standing, lifting, and reaching can start to feel less like choreography and more like a high-stakes balancing act. Enter frailty, a clinical syndrome marked by loss of muscle mass, slower gait speed, fatigue, and an increased risk of falls that can turn everyday life into a tightrope walk. And while many tools are being explored to help older adults stay strong and upright, one of the most surprisingly effective might just be sitting quietly in your pantry: omega-3 fatty acids. These slippery little lipids, particularly EPA and DHA, the marine-based stars found in fish, krill, and algae oils, are often touted for their heart and brain benefits. But when it comes to aging gracefully and staying out of the emergency room, they may have just as much to offer your muscles, joints, and neuromuscular system. Because let's be real, aging isn't just about wrinkles or wisdom. It's about maintaining enough strength and coordination to keep doing the things that make life worth living, without needing a hip replacement or a panic button. Let's start with muscle preservation. One of the quiet tragedies of aging is sarcopenia, the progressive loss of skeletal muscle mass and strength that starts in our 30s and accelerates in our later decades. It's the biological equivalent of your muscles slowly going on strike. Omega-3s have shown real promise here. They don't just reduce inflammation in aging muscle, they may also enhance the anabolic response to protein and resistance exercise. In other words, when you take omega-3s, your muscles respond more effectively to the stimuli that build and maintain them. Several studies have shown that older adults taking 2 to 3 grams of omega-3s daily experience greater muscle volume and strength gains than those who don't supplement, even when both groups are doing the same exercise program. That's not a minor perk. That's a legitimate strategy for extending functional independence. But the benefits don't end with bigger biceps. Omega-3s also offer significant support for joint health, which is key for mobility and fall prevention. Chronic low-grade inflammation is a major driver of joint stiffness, pain, and degenerative changes, especially in conditions like osteoarthritis. Omega-3s help suppress the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines while increasing levels of anti-inflammatory molecules, essentially turning down the biological heat that makes your knees crackle like bubble wrap every time you stand up. This can lead to reduced pain, better range of motion, and greater willingness to stay physically active, which in turn feeds back into better muscle maintenance. It's the anti-frailty feedback loop we've all been waiting for. Perhaps most fascinating, however, is how omega-3s impact neuromuscular function, that intricate interplay between brain, nerves, and muscles that allows you to step confidently over a curb instead of tripping over your own dignity. DHA, in particular, is a major component of neuronal membranes and is essential for maintaining the integrity of synaptic connections and nerve signaling. As we age, the speed and coordination of motor responses tend to decline, contributing to slower reaction times and poorer balance. Some research suggests that higher omega-3 intake may improve nerve conduction and reduce central fatigue, giving older adults a sharper edge in their daily movements. One might even call it cellular choreography, omega-3s keeping the rhythm between brain and body in sync. And then, of course, there's the fall risk. Falls are the single biggest cause of injury-related hospitalization and death in older adults, and they're not just physical events, they're psychological setbacks that often lead to a decline in activity and confidence. By supporting stronger muscles, better joint function, and quicker neuromuscular reflexes, omega-3s may play an indirect but powerful role in keeping people on their feet and out of the ER. There's even some evidence that they may help improve bone density in combination with other nutrients like vitamin D, which only strengthens their case as multitasking marvels. For researchers and healthcare providers, this opens up exciting frontiers. Could targeted omega-3 supplementation become part of standard care for frailty prevention? Are there specific thresholds or blood levels of EPA and DHA that correlate with optimal physical performance in older adults? Can we pair omega-3s with other interventions like protein timing, balance training, or vibration therapy for compounding benefits? And most importantly, how do we make this information accessible enough that grandma starts reaching for fish oil instead of just her knitting needles? At the end of the day, staying upright isn't just about balance, it's about biology. And omega-3s are one of the few nutrients with the credentials to support multiple systems involved in physical aging. They're the molecular equivalent of non-slip shoes, joint grease, and a personal trainer, all in one daily dose. So if the goal is to grow older without growing frail, Don't just think about walking more or lifting weights. Think about fueling the machinery that makes those movements possible. Think fatty acids. Think fall prevention. Think strength in every slippery, seesaw drop.